Welcome to all devotees. Now we start today's Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna Dandat Pranam. Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 11, Chapter 31, the disappearance of Lord Sri Krishna. From shloka number 13 to 28, try to understand. Tathapi asheta sthiti asambhava apayeshu ananya hetu yat avashesha shakti druka न ऐच्छत् प्रणेतुं पपु अत्र शेषितं मार्तेन किं स्थगतिं प्रदर्शयन् यः एतां प्रातः उत्थाय कृष्णस्य पदवीं परां प्रयत कीर्तयेत भक्त्या ताम् एव आप्नोति अनुत्तमाम्. दारुकः द्वारकाम् एत्य वसुदेव उग्रसेनयोः पतित्वा चरणौ अश्रैन्यषिच्यत् कृष्ण विचित्ततः कथयाम् आस निधनं वृष्णीनां कृतश्न शः नृप तच्छ्रुत्वा उद्विग्न हृदयाः जनाः विमूर्छिताः तत्र स्म त्वरिता जग्मो कृष्ण विश्लेष विवलाः व्यसव शैरते यत्र ज्ञातय घ्नत आननम्. देवकी रोहिणी च एव वसुदेव तथा सुतो कृष्ण रामो अपश्यन्त शोकार्ता विजुः स्मृतिं प्राणान् च विजुः तत्र भगवद्वीर आतुरा उपगुह्य पतिन तात चीताम् आरुरुः श्रियः. रामपत्ने च तद्देहम् उपगुह्य अग्निम् आविशन् वसुदेव पत्ने तत्गात्रम् प्रद्युम्नान् आदीन् हरे स्नुषाः कृष्ण पत्ने अविशत् अग्निम् रुक्मिणी आद्याः तत् आत्मिकाः अर्जुनः प्रेयस सख्युः कृष्णस्य वीर आतुरः आत्मानं सान्त्वयामास कृष्ण गीते सत् उक्तिभिः. बंधूनां नष्टपोत्राणाम् अर्जुन सांपरायिकं हतानां कारयम आस यथावत् अनुपूर्वशः द्वारकां हरिणा त्यक्तां समुद्र अप्लावयत् क्षणात् वर्जयित्वा महाराज श्रीमद् भगवत आलयं नित्यं सन्निहित तत्र भगवान् मधुसूदनः स्मृत्या अशेष अशुभहरं सर्वमङ्गलमङ्गलम्. श्री बाल वृद्धान आदय हतशेषान् धनंजय इंद्रप्रस्थं समावेश्य वज्रं तत्र अभ्यषेचयत्. श्रुत्वा सुहृद वदं राजन् अर्जुनात् ते पितामह त्वां तु वंशधरं कृत्वा जगमु सर्वे महापथम्. यः एतद्देव देवस्य विष्णो कर्माणि जन्म च कीर्तेत् श्रद्धयामर्त्यः सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते. एतं हरे भगवतः रुचिर अवतार वीर्याणि बालचरितानि च शमतमान् अन्यत्र च यः च श्रुतानि गृह्णन् मनुष्यः भक्तिं परां परम हंसगतौ लभेत्. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Krishna, possessor of infinite powers, is the only cause of the recreation, maintenance, and destructions of the innumerable living beings. He desired to keep his body in this world any longer. Thus, he revealed the destination of those fixed in the self and demonstrated that this mortal is of no intrinsic value. Anyone who regularly rises early in the morning and carefully chants devotion the glories of Lord Sri Krishna's transcendental disappearance and his return to his own abode, will certainly achieve that same supreme destination. As soon as Daruka reached Dwarka, he threw himself at the feet of Vasudeva and Ugrasena and drenched their feet with his tears, lamenting the loss of Lord Krishna. Oh, Daruka delivered the account of the total destruction of the Vrishnis, and upon hearing this, O Parikshit, the people became deeply distraught in their hearts and stunned with sorrow. Feeling the overwhelming pain of separation from Krishna, they struck their own faces while hurrying to the place where their relatives lay dead. When the Devki, Rohini, and Vasudev could not find their son Krishna and Rama, they lost consciousness out of anguish, tormented by separation from the Lord. His parents gave up their lives at that very spot. My dear Parikshit, the wives of the Yadus then climbed onto the funeral pyres, embracing their dead husbands. The wives of Lord Balrama also entered the fire and embraced his body. And Vasudeva's wife entered his fire and embraced his body. The daughters-in-law of Lord Hari entered the funeral pyres of their respective husbands, headed by Pradyumna and Rukmini and the other wives of Lord Krishna, whose hearts were completely absorbed in him, entered his fire. Arjuna felt great distress over separation from Lord Krishna, his dearmost friend, but he consoled himself by remembering the transcendental words the Lord had sung to him. Arjuna then saw to it that the funeral rites were properly carried out for the dead who had no remaining male family members. He executed the required ceremonies for each of the Yadus one after another. As soon as Dwarka was abandoned by Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ocean flooded it on all sides. O King, sparing only his palace. Lord Madhusudana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is eternally present in Dwarka. It is the most auspicious of all auspicious places, and merely remembering it destroys all contamination. Arjuna took the survivors of the Yadu dynasty, the women, children, and old men, to Indraprasth, where he installed Vajra as ruler of the Yadus. Hearing from Arjuna of the death of their friends, my dear king, your grandfather established you as the maintainer of the dynasty and left to prepare for their departure from this world. A person who, with faith, engages in chanting the glories of these various pastimes and incarnations of Vishnu, the Lord of Lords, will again liberation from all sins. They all auspicious exploits of the all attractive incarnations of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also the pastimes he performed as a child, as are described in this Srimad Bhagwatam and in other scripture. Anyone who clearly chants these descriptions of his pastimes will attain transcendental loving service unto Lord Krishna, who is the goal of all perfect sages. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although Lord Krishna descended to this world to save the fallen souls, he did not want to encourage people in the future to loiter here unnecessarily. In other words, as soon as possible, one should perfect one's Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead. If Lord Krishna had remained longer on the earth, he would have unnecessarily increased the prestige of the material world, as stated by Sri Uddhava in Srimad Bhagwatam 3.2.11. Adyantara adha yaha tu swabimbam lokalochanam. Lord Sri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who are unable to see him as he is due to not executing the required penance. Uddhava also state in Bhagavatam 3.2.10, Devasya mayaya sprushta ye cha anyat asat ashrita भ्रमयते धीहि न तत् धीर न तत् वाक्यैः आत्मनि उत्पात मनः हरौ. Under no circumstances can the word of prayer persons bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord, deviate the intelligent of those who are completely surrendered soul. One who follows the Vaishnava authorities in his attempt to understand Lord Krishna's transcendental disappearance easily appreciate that the Lord is the omnipotent personality of Godhead and that his spiritual body is identical with his eternal spiritual potency. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the original Devaki, Rohini and other ladies of Dwarka actually remain in Dwarka, invisible to the eyes of the material world, whereas the demigods who represented partial aspects of the Devaki, Rohini and so on went to Prabhasa to see their dead relatives. It is understood that the anguished scene described here is a display of the Lord's illusory potency, adding the adding a final dramatic note to Lord Krishna's pastimes on the earth. In reality, Lord Krishna returned to his eternal abode in his original body, and his eternal associate returned with him. This final heartbreaking scene of the Lord's pastimes is a creation of the Lord's internal potency that brings the Lord's manifest pastime to a perfect dramatic end. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, Arjuna remembered such verses from the Gita as Na aham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavruta muda ayam na vijanati loka mam ajam avyayam 7.25. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my eternal creative potency Yogmaya, and so the deluded world knows me not who am unborn and infallible. Similarly, Srila Goswami has mentioned the Gita verse Eva Eshasi Satyam Te Prati Jane Priya Asime. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. You will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. He has also quoted from the Swarga Parva of Mahabharat as follows. ददर्श तत्र गोविंदम ब्रह्मणे वशु अन्वितम वपुषा अन्वितम तेन एव दृष्ट पूर्वेण सादृशेन उपसुचिताम दीप्यमानं स्ववपुषा दिव्यै अश्रै उपस्कृतं चक्रभृतिभिः घोरे दिव्यै पुरुषविग्रहैः उपास्यमानं वीरेण फाल्गुनेन सुवर्चसा यथा स्वरूपं कौन्तेय तथा एव मधुसूदन तौ उभौ पुरुषव्याघ्रौ समुद्वीक्ष्य युधिष्ठिरं यथा अर्हं प्रतिपेदाते पूजया देव पूजितो. There Yudhishthir saw Lord Govinda as the absolute truth in his original personal form. He appeared just as Yudhishthir had seen him before, with all the same characteristics. He was glowing brilliantly with the effulgence coming from his own body, and he was surrounded by his transcendental weapons, the dicks, and so on, which appeared in their fearsome personified forms. O descendant of Kunti, Lord Madhusudana was being worshipped by the effulgent hero Arjuna, who also appeared in his original form. When these two lions among men who are worshipable by the demigods noticed the presence of Yudhishthir, they approached him with proper respect and offered him worship. Srila Goswami explains that whereas external manifestation of the Lord's abode was covered by the ocean, the Lord's eternal Dwarka exists beyond the material universe and certainly beyond the material ocean. Dwarka had been constructed by Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigod, and the Sudharma assembly hall had been brought from heaven. In that city, there were many beautiful and splendorous residents of the aristocratic Yadu dynasty, and the most beautiful residence of all was that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Jiva Goswami mentions that even in the modern age, people who live near the site of the original Dwarka sometimes catch a glimpse of it in the ocean. Ultimately, the Lord, associate, and abode are eternal, and one who understands this is qualified to become fully Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
This is shloka number 12 is coming.
Sorry.
Our
Sorry.
shloka number is.
Sorry. The shloka number is not changed. Please read the purport,
that
Mataji.
is not.
Just read the purports. Hare Krishna.
Thus end the purpose of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 11th canto, 31st, 31st of the Srimad Bhagwatam entitled The Disciple Shri Krishna. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Ayam Upakadamayam Dadat Swapadantikam Sri Guroho Pada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakaitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurani Pracharine Nirvesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Pancha Kalpatarubecha Rupa Sindhuve Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vaswadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Dandot Pranam. Today we completing Srimad Bhagwatam Canto 11 and chapter 31, the disappearance of Lord Krishna. How they go their abode, and after behind him, what happened, how Dwarka Nagri drowned, and all members, remaining all members with Arjuna taking the go Indraprastha, and there he uh, uh, Vraja keep on the Sihasana. That all points are discussed in nicely. Prabhuji will told you in detail. Hare Krishna Dandot Pranam. Mancha kalpatarubhecha krupa sindhubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Dandot Pranam. So two very important shlokas which we are seeing in these particular verses. Ya etat Day080 Vishnu Karmani Janmacha Kirtayat Shraddhaya Martyah Sarva Papah Pramuchyate. Which means that a person who with faith engages in chanting the glories of these various pastimes and incarnations of Vishnu, the Lord of Lords, will gain liberation from all sins. Pramuchyate. Sarva papahe pramuchyate. And that is why this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya is very, very important. Because we are actually in this world of Kali Yuga where every moment we may be committing knowingly or unknowingly some sin or the other and increasing our bondage with whatever work we are doing. Because finally, all kinds of work lead to bondage only unless and until that work is Nishkam Karma Yoga or we are doing everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. So, unless we are doing anything which is not related to Krishna, we will always be bound. And then, with not only ends here, Shuddha Goswami ji expresses something much more important. इत्थं हरे भगवतः रुचिः अवतारवीर्याणि बालचरितानि च सन्तमानि अन्यत्र च इह च श्रुतानि गृह्णन् मनुष्यभक्तिं परां परमहंसगतौ लभेत. The all auspicious exploits of the all attractive incarnations of Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also the pastimes he performed as a child are described in the Srimad Bhagwatam and in other scriptures. Anyone who clearly chants these descriptions of his pastimes will attain transcendental loving service unto Lord Krishna, who is the goal of all perfect sages. Just look at it. Paramhamsa. Paramhamsas are the perfect sages. Even for them, what is the destination? Gato. That destination is Krishna. So, if you are able to do the Shrutani Grinam Manushya Bhaktim Paramhansa Gatau Labheta. If you are able to hear that is Shrutani chant, that is Grinan, then any person with devotional service, that is Manushya Bhakti Paramhansa Gatau Labheta, will attain the transcendental destination which the perfect sages get. It is difficult for us to be the perfect sages because finally we are in this Kali Yuga where it is not possible for us to be able to do everything. We are not able to even do our fast appropriately. When we say Ekadashi, like today we have Ekadashi and we have to do Nirjala, we think, why Nirjala? Let me do at least with Sajala, at least with Sadhukta, at least with Safala. There are so many who are not able to do even with fruits and they go on eating. And actually, Ekadashi becomes a fast day, feast day. The fast becomes feast. But this is what happens in Kali Yuga. So we cannot be perfect sages. But we have Lord Krishna is so mercifully says that even if you are able to listen and chant these glorious pastimes of Krishna in his various avatars, in his various incarnations, and especially his childhood pastimes, then we'll get the same destinations. So that small Kanha, Kanhaiya, one who is the Brajaranjana. That is what we do every day when we start the session. When we are singing Jaya Radha Madhava. What is the third verse which we say? Yes, everyone can remember it. Yes. Gopi Jana Vallabha. And then we say Yashoda Maya. So even our bhajans, even our kirtans, they are related to Krishna so that we remember it. And if you are able to remember it, if you are able to chant it, if you are able to listen to it, you can definitely go back home, back to God. At Dwarka, oh, what to say of Dwarka? In fact, it is said that just remembering about Dwarka, it can destroy all kinds of contaminations that we are having. It takes away anything which is inauspicious. Ashesha Ashubha Haram Sarva Mangala Mangala. Because Krishna is always present. Nityam Sannitaha Tattva. Bhagavan Madhusudana Smratya Shesha Ashubha Haram Sarva Mangala Mangala. And that is why we have to always remember Dwarka as well. And just by remembering it, whatever contaminations we may have developed, they'll get destroyed one by one. And we will be purified. Because finally, purification is what we are all thinking about. One in knowledge understands the incompatibility with material nature and so acts only for purification, unattached to material results. That is how we have to perform Nishkar Karma Yoga. So, the moment we are able to reach that level, just by remembering, just by listening, the necessary purificatory processes are in place, and we become freed from all kinds of bondages. We can be muktva. Now, the scriptures are talking about various different kinds of mukti, but either of that is going to be something which will be useful for us only. So it could be Gunatita and Swarupa Siddha, wherein the person has transcended the three modes and realized the Swarup in spiritual world. So though they may be in material world, but for all practical purposes, they are in spiritual world. We have this story of our Raghunath Das Goswami, who had a stomach upset because he had prepared the kheer in the spiritual world, prepared by Srimati Radharani and Sakhis. So that is Gunatit and Swarup Siddha. Other could be who are Gunatit but not Swarup Siddha. So Jivan Bhaktata but not realized his Swarup in spiritual world because the person is no longer influenced by the three modes. And the third kind of liberation can be neither Gunatit, neither Swarup Siddha, but Sthira. So though they are in the material world, the eyes are fixed in the spiritual world. They are not looking here and there for pleasure available in material world. The eyes are fixed on the spiritual world alone. So we have to get to that Jivan Mukta. We have to go back home, back to Bhagavan in the spiritual world. That is our target. So let us achieve it by chanting of the glorious holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.